Welcome to this episode of the Comedy Defect podcast. My name is Winter, I'm a comedian, and this is my show. Those that are new to the show, welcome. Those that are old to the show, thanks for coming back, guys. This is a podcast about comedy. I meet comedians, speak to them about what they do and how they got there, and maybe just find some nuggets of information that you can use in your comedy journey. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, so if you find something interesting about this episode or any of these episodes you've heard, I hope you can use it and, maybe build it into how you can maybe build some self-esteem or maybe some momentum in your comedy career. I run a gig in Redbourne the first Tuesday of the month, and I'm down there, I say, every month or the first Tuesday of the month, and we've got comedians from Live at the Apollo, people that are on the circuit for years, people that are breaking past the circuit onto TV. So you see so many different stratas of comedy careers in one place. That's where comedy lives, in the live environment. So if you ever want to see that and you want to talk about comedy, you're interested in get into it, talk to me down there. And look, I'm easy to talk to, man, woman, anything in between. Come speak to me. Look, it's a hard thing to do and kind of like break past the sort of perfectionist stage of like, I've got these ideas, but they're not perfect yet. They'll never be perfect. Just get out there and do them. This is episode 115 with an excellent comedian. She's from Hemel Hempstead originally, but she's smashing it in the London circuit at the moment. She has done AAA stand-up. I don't want to tell you too much about her because you'll talk about that in the episode. She is on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as @Vivienne Kay. That's VIVIENNEKAY. So go and check her stuff out, go follow her and go and see her live. She's got an interesting voice. You'll hear it in the episode anyway. And it's just interesting where she started her comedy journey. Yeah, one of those guys. You can follow me. I'm on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, all those places @WinterDominus. That's WINTERDOMINUS. And if you want to be my friend on Facebook, you can. My name is Winter Phonander, as the podcast is called, the Winter Phonander podcast. And if you want to go like our page, the Comedy Defect page, just go to Facebook, like the page, and also you can join the Comedy Defect Facebook group. I'll post the podcast there first, and I'll also post gig dates that you can come and see and talk to me about comedy. Or if you want a gig, let me know and I'll try and put you on. I'm happy for people who are just starting out to go in the middle, or people that are just more seasoned to open up, and the closers, anyone really. Look, if you want to come down, just let me know, and send me a video and all that stuff. That's cool. So if you're listening to this podcast and you really enjoy it, you can share your favorite episode because it tells people where we are and what we're up to. And if you really like it, you can buy me a coffee. You can go to Patreon, type in the Comedy Defect podcast, or donate as little or as much as you feel this podcast is worth. And if you can't donate, that's all right. Just tell your friends about your favorite episode, because as I say, it tells people where we are and what we're up to. That's all the intro stuff and all the other gump out of the way. I hope you enjoy this episode with the excellent comedian. She's been on AAA. She's been to Edinburgh loads of times. She's a very funny individual. So go and find her on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, and go and follow her and find when her next gig is. And so this is episode 115 with the excellent comedian that she is, Vivienne Kay. Enjoy. Vivienne Kay, welcome to the Comedy Defect. Thank you for spending the next hour or so of your time with me. How are you getting on? What have you been up to?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Winter.
Pleasure.
I'm very good, although I'll caveat that we're in the, I don't know how many weeks we've been in this never-ending third lockdown. So I'm very good for somebody who's desperate to get out of that. Yes.
How have you managed to cope with the situation? What have you done? Have you bought anything? Or have you taken up a weird hobby? Have you made bread?
Oh, that's a good question. I did try learning Welsh, but I've decided that languages are not for me. Yeah, that's been put on the pile. So now I think I'll go back to comedy. I think that's actually a lot easier than Welsh. So
fair.
We'll stick to that. And how have you been doing?
I've been fine. Trying to do different things as well. I didn't go for Welsh before lockdown. Previous lockdown, I tried Hindi.
Wow.
I had a very limited success with that. I kept getting confused with swimming and running. So it was tough, but my missus speaks Hindi as well, so it was a little bit easier because she can watch it and understand it, but it's she can't speak yet, so she's kind of helping me out. I might return to it, but I'm not sure. It's just there's a lot to do with comedy and everything else, but so it's just add another thing to the pile. Yeah, that's great because I don't have enough hours in the day as it is. And how was it with the Welsh? Are you Welsh?
No, so I'm not Welsh and my partner's Welsh. And so I actually had that added advantage as well. So my partner was very encouraging, and he would always pretend to understand or understand what I was saying. And then I would repeat the words to his parents or someone else, and they'd be like, what are you saying? So I was almost developing my own language there. It just wasn't, I don't think it was real Welsh. It's very hard. So yeah. I was not talented.
Yeah. Did you make any hilarious mistakes? What was the thing they thought? What you just said is this. Did they any of those things?
Oh, no, because I think what I was saying was so incomprehensible. So they were struggling to understand any words at all.
Great. You're doing old Welsh, very old Welsh, right?
Yeah, just a series of sounds. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. What do you do during the day? What have you done? Like just like do many press ups and pull ups, or like you're just totally huge and ripped now? What have you been up to?
I wish I was. Seeing as we're sort of we're audio, you can't see that I'm actually a rather petite lady. So the idea of me being ripped is quite funny.
Yeah.
But no, so I have a day job, which I've always had a day job. And when we went into lockdown last March, it became even busier than normal. So that's kept me quite busy with no time for banana bread, sadly, or push-ups, to my sadness.
Damn.
Yeah, I know. They did a survey actually at work about how happy were people, and it came out as people weren't as happy as the organisation was expecting. And I was just thinking, if they're anything like me and they've been looking at some of their friends or people in other industries who've been on furlough or having other challenges, but also looking at people doing yoga or baking or playing with their families, and then it's been relentless. So I wonder if that was why people are not as happy as they thought they would be.
Like during lockdown?
Yes.
That's it. It's like all this time. I've got so much time to spend with my family and my loved ones. This is what it is. You know, people like Shawshank Redemption trying to dig their way out from behind the wallpapers. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's going to be pretty depressing. But like, so what's your day job?
Also, I work for a large corporate. Yeah, so it keeps me very busy.
What type of work is it?
So it's in finance.
Oh, okay, right. Is it for a bank?
For a financial institution.
Okay, right, fine. Is it for insurance?
No.
This is nice, like guess who, isn't it? Because I don't want to give the name out. It's okay, I can take it all out. Don't worry, I can take all the names out.
Not an insurance company, which I think that makes me sound better, doesn't it?
Yes, I think so. I think so.
Insurance.
They're pretty ruthless, aren't they? Really. So you drove 8,001 miles and then you had the crash. So now we're not going to pay out your insurance claim. We cover 99.9%, but I'm afraid you're the 0.1%.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no insurance for you.
Yeah, that's right. You've been so busy with that. You haven't had a chance to look at Netflix. Everyone's like, oh, I've got so much time on Netflix and Prime and stuff. And
I'm completely behind. And
wow.
And I'm loving TV in the evenings. Honestly, when like before lockdown, if I had a night in, as I'm sure you'd be the same, gigging and be very busy normally. So if you did have a night in, it was such a treat.
Yeah.
So there's part of me that hopes that I can retain some balance when we get back out and have some nights in still, because it must be better for your health to have a few nights off occasionally.
I think so. Yeah. Otherwise, you just feel like you're like a hamster on a hamster wheel, kind of going around and around, like they're just losing your mind, doing the same thing again and again. Have you actually managed to write anything while the lockdowns happen, or are you just like, look, it's not happening for a while, let's move on?
So I've gone through many different phases, which might be normal. So I have written some stuff.
No, free time.
I actually think it's probably, in some respects, been quite good for me, because I've always been too busy in the day with my day job. And then I've always then been quite good at going to gigs and having the energy to get out there and book gigs and then go to gigs. But what then I've sometimes not had the time for or devoted enough time to is writing. So actually losing the commute has been good. And that's given me a bit of time every morning to write, which is really good.
Are you working on your own show at the moment?
So I was working to being in an Edinburgh show last year, which is now this year, which now not feeling very hopeful about that. But it was actually 3-way, so it was 17 minutes.
Okay.
But it was 17 minutes of club-ready material.
Great.
And so I was working towards that. So since last year, I've obviously decided that I hate all my material and would like to write. But creating 17 minutes of club-ready material from nothing, without able to practice or do things is a challenge.
That's right. Yeah. So when did you start, Vivienne? What's your birthday?
What's my birthday?
Yeah.
My comedy birthday.
Yeah, your comedy birthday.
My comedy birthday would be about 5 years ago.
And like, do you remember the date and where?
I don't remember the date.
Sorry, it's not a test. You're not going to lose anything. It's not like, oh my God, she's scoring 50% right now. Oh,
she's awful. Cut the podcast. My first open mic gig would have been in Brighton.
Right.
At a lovely, friendly, a place above a pub, which was very nice. There was some improv on after me, which blew my mind. Like, I loved stand-up and had seen a lot of stand-up and then had never seen any improv. So that was a shock to the system.
Yeah.
Then I did a few more gigs in Brighton, and then I entered the murky world of London, and it was quite a very different place. Not quite the same liberal and always welcoming comfort blanket of Brighton.
Yeah, I bet.
Which is probably good, because you don't want to keep doing rubbish, do you?
No, that's true. That's true.
Brighton people are exceptionally nice, I think.
Yeah. There's something about being by the sea, isn't it? They're just kind of like happy. It's like they got blue skies and sea and the sea air. It makes you feel good, right?
Yeah, and I always felt that they are sitting there and they accept that people are trying stuff, and they can tell that you're very early, and they're more like, they come wanting to laugh, I think. Yeah. Whereas, I mean, obviously, you'll have been to open mic gigs in London, and it's like, make me laugh. Yeah. And as well as lots of open mic comedians who very tired probably and just want to go home. Yeah, that's right. After 22nd person on, like, and you're like, I've been practicing my 5 minutes for days. Please let me on. Yeah. Oh man. So your first one was like, so your first few were really nice and welcoming and warm. Yes. That sounds lovely. Yes, they were very lovely. And then I'm pretty sure one of the, where would it have been? I would have done a We Are Funny one. I think would have been the first one I did in London. Nice. Yeah. Do you remember your first joke you wrote? No, I don't. I haven't. I do remember writing some awful stuff about my housemates jizzing into socks. Okay, cool. Which I really hope is never. And about an ex-boyfriend, and I was always scared that the ex-boyfriend was somehow going to hear and be offended, which obviously the ex-boyfriend doesn't care, nor is ever going to hear. But it's, I guess, the kind of things that you worry about. Yeah, that's right. You kind of like just, basically therapizing your life on stage sort of thing. Going, well, and just making a joke out of it so you can deal with it yourself, right? Yeah, or maybe going for some more extreme things or things that you might laugh at in the pub with your mates. Yeah. Cool. It's easier to talk about. Did you do a course or anything, or did you just go straight into it? How did you come to the route of stand-up? So I did the Jill Edwards course in Brighton. Oh yeah. And I came to that seeing a friend, or sort of I think it was a colleague actually, doing some voluntary work with some disabled children. Right. And we had like a Britain's Got Talent night. He got up and did 5 minutes to sort of warm up the crowd. And it just blew my mind. I was like, Andy, how did you do that? That's so incredible, because I loved stand up. And I was always watching it and always like analysing it. He just said, oh yeah, I went on this course, you should try it. And so I signed up. It was 6 months away, didn't really think anything more of it. And then, then Julie trotted down. It was a Saturday afternoon. And I didn't really have any ambition to like become a stand-up. I just did it because I love stand-up and I wanted to find out more about how it works, I guess. Yeah. In the same way, I guess you might do a cooking course because you like baking or you like eating. And then I wasn't even going to, they have like this end of term showcase and I wasn't even going to be in that. It's obviously a really good course, but they make you audition for this end of term showcase. And that was probably the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done. Like my knees were physically knocking together. Yeah. But somehow I got chosen to be in there and I thought, God, I've got to do this. Now I've been through the audition. Great. And that was really nice, actually. After doing some open mic gigs after that, then I think it was probably, I thought, I'll just do a few just to get the writing bit out of my system. Yeah. But after I'd done 10, I think I was well and truly hooked. Yeah, that's it. You got the bug, huh? Yeah, exactly. It's like that Jill Edwards course. She's brutal to the acts, I've heard, isn't it? She's like, look, no, get off. That was rubbish. And go back and just destroy everything you've just destroyed a tree just by writing that down somewhere. Well, I can imagine that you'll probably get quite a lot of people who are complete I'm trying to think of a polite word.
Go for it. So you can say what you want here.
Complete bellends on,
There you go.
on a stand-up comedy course. And so I imagine maybe sometimes putting people in their place is very useful.
Yeah.
God, could you imagine though, like having new people and having to watch the garbage, and I include myself in this wholeheartedly, the garbage that they write, and having to pretend that it's funny.
Yeah.
Because, there's like a few people who are very talented and are immediately like write good stuff, but I definitely wasn't those people. So I think probably if people are harsh, it would be because they're just trying to get through that garbage stage.
Everyone has to go through that. You're absolutely terrible. I mean, my thing was like, I love, you love stand-up, and same at the beginning for me. I was like, I love stand-up, I have all the energy, but I don't have the joke writing ability at the very beginning. I was like, I've got all this enthusiasm, but I don't know where to put it.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think I'm not sure where this belief came from. I don't know if it was from the course or if I'd read this, or I had this belief that you're either a performer or a writer. And that to some extent may have held my confidence back, I think, because I was definitely put down the route of that I was a performer and didn't feel like a very good writer. I also, oh God, well, just perform, just keep gigging. But like the writing that I never felt particularly confident in. So that's taken a long time. And I, to this day, have to keep telling myself, no, you can do both.
Yeah, it's like that thing when someone hears you do maybe acting or presenting as well. There's a lot of purists out there that go, oh, well, you're not a pure stand-up. I'm sorry, I love stand-up. It's the thing that gave me everything else and the confidence to do all this other stuff. But it's like, oh, well, you're not pure. Yeah, stand-up, you can't survive just on stand-up money alone anymore. It's like, unless you're massive and then like, you're selling out arenas, and that's great. But, otherwise it's like, I want to be a purist and I'm not going to go live in a squat and like, live off air and like whatever it is, sit outside Tesco's with a sign saying we'll take Bitcoin for jokes.
Are you saying that as an actor, Winter?
No, I'm saying as a multi-skilled person is what I'm saying it as.
Multi-talented you are.
Yeah, so it's like you got to do loads of different things. But I think that there's because I've interviewed so many people and they're going to go, oh, but I'm like just pure stand-up in my heart. It's like, okay, fine, well, don't limit yourself.
No, I think you're right. Yeah, and the further people go, then I guess the more they have to diversify as they move away from that kind of traditional day job. Yeah, income street.
That's true. There's a guy called Simon King, and he does a bit about. He said that actors want to be comedians, and comedians want to be actors. It's like you see like the likes of Patton Oswalt, an amazing comedian, brilliant actor as well. He's been in Star Wars and everything. You can do both. That's what it is. It's like that's what I'm talking about. You're the performer and the writer. You are not just one thing. You're many. We're all many things. It's such a limited observation. I think that analysis. Of like, you're one or the other. Because I think it kind of, as I limits the individual, then, oh, well, I'm one thing. It's like when you're trying to find your persona at the beginning, what's my persona? Hey, look, don't worry about that. Just be funny. Oh, who am I? I'm me. Just, it's all right. Don't worry about your persona. It's fine. The jokes will come out of that anyway. So you did 10 gigs and you were hooked. And then that Jill Edwards course you did, were you before this, did you do like any performance as well? Or did you just go like stand up is the thing, I want to get into that?
Yeah, so I've never done any type of performance or like anything in my life. Great. Apart from I believe I was in a nativity play at some point.
Who were you? Please tell me.
I was a turkey.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, I know.
But you didn't die in the end.
No, I just had to stand there being a turkey. That's how limited my performance skills were. I didn't even get like a sheep part. I was a turkey. I was proud to be a turkey. Yeah. And I stood there with my funny homemade costume. So that may be why I didn't do any performance for the rest of my childhood. I came to it just loving stand-up, having watched a lot of stand-up, but not ever having done it.
Who did you watch when you were younger?
My favourite tea time treat was my parents used to go out on a Wednesday evening for some reason. I don't remember why. And I'll pour myself a glass of milk and then I'll put on Only Fools and Horses.
I love it. That's great. Just in a wine glass, I pour myself a glass.
I think I probably did.
Nice.
And then I would watch, so Only Fools and Horses and then 40 Towers. And that was like back to back. And that was the best Wednesday evenings.
In school, were you like a tearaway, or were you just like very just like quiet, did your thing and just got on with it and held the comedy inside?
I think like within your own friendship group, you can be funny or, but no, I wouldn't have been known by people in other classes or, just put my head down. then, got to university, had fun there, spent way too much time watching Alan Partridge.
Great.
That type of British humour was really probably quite important. And then got into the adult world, I suppose, after that. Like, having a great time in day jobs, but still, like, always thinking there was a bit more there creatively that wasn't being used.
Yeah.
And I think it took me a long time to work out what it was.
Yeah, it's only so many spreadsheets you can do in a funny way, isn't there, before, they start to talk. It's like, sure, this is for you, this job. I'm just temping here, but, look at the way I've done it. It's like all those colours, amazing. Look, it's just, there's such evolution in the piece. Your your degree in college, what was it? Is it business as well, or?
No, I did geography.
Oh, right, okay.
I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great, why did I do geography? I have no idea. I wasn't very good at geography either.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, where am I? Where am I in life? This will help me. I will be able to. Yeah.
I remember now. I started doing a law degree.
Okay.
But then I realised on this law degree that everybody else wanted to be lawyers, and I knew I didn't want to be a lawyer because I don't really like arguing.
Right,
so
cool.
I thought, God, I've got to get out of here. This is horrific.
Yeah.
And also all the people were like total tools.
Oh.
It was very posh.
Yeah.
Like there was definitely a type of person that was doing that law degree. So and I switched to another course which would have me, and that was geography. So which is pretty harmless degree. So very nice. Get to travel, can read a map, and definitely like when you were talking about colouring in those spreadsheets, I was
all over it.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Can just picture you in a courtroom now, saying your opening argument. I'd love to see that. That'd be such a amazing, especially with because you've got such a high and a nice voice. So going, you'd have to be defending them, wouldn't you? They're just such a nice person. I'd love to see that.
I don't know. Now you say that, I actually think now I probably would enjoy it. But at the time, it seemed a very confrontational and very dry. Like all that we were doing was just learning stuff off by heart, and I just found it a bit boring at the time.
All these case studies and stuff. Funnily enough, a lot of comedians I've talked to, they're thinking about. I mean, out of all, about 5 or 6 have been lawyers. They got Yanni Agisolo, you got Mark Palmer was a lawyer, and there's more, but I just can't pull them. But that's pretty good. I've pulled 2. That's it. I'll let myself off.
Yeah, no, you're right. There's a few.
I think it's just the kind of learning that kind of argumentative sort of why, and then sort of proving your point. Look, this is why, and also this. Have you looked at this? And what? This is another reason why this is so ridiculous, And then you just pick it apart like that, and then present like that. But yeah, I think it's a great basis of reciting, giving some power to what you're about to say. But so you started in the right place, and then you've got geography, and you know where it was at. That's what it is.
Well, now I can find my way around the country to different gigs. So
this is true.
Definitely a benefit.
Yeah, there's a bridge there. It's a dub version. We'll go around this way. Well, so what was the thing that was the most difficult to get over before you went on stage?
You mean before I started, or once I started?
Yeah, the thing you went, okay, right. Yeah, well, both actually, both.
Before I started, I suppose it was just thinking about. I mean, it's just terrifying, the idea, or it was terrifying, the idea of getting up there and saying things which I thought were funny. Like, would other people find them funny? I think that was quite scary. And would they laugh at me as a person? Would they listen to me? But now, I mean, there's nothing really now, I suppose.
Did you ever try and do a character?
No, I've never done a character, but I've been mistaken for a character on numerous occasions.
Right.
But I think it's a compliment.
So, just like, look, just talk normally, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's what it is. Oh, rude.
After the bar, at the bar so many times. Oh, so I love that. So what other characters do you do? No, just buy me a drink.
Yeah, that's it. Don't say that was great and then take it away. The fact that that's always the thing I find in this country is like that. There's a very English thing. It's like, oh, I've given you a compliment. That means that you are better than me. Oh no, I've just realised what I've done. Okay, I've got to take that away from you again and make you feel really awkward. That's what it's great.
Yeah.
Oh, funny.
But I think if I was to make a character, it would be a lot more glamorous than maybe some of the stuff I have talked about on stage. But yeah.
If you were to make a character, who would you be? What would you be? Who would be your thing that you could an archetype?
I don't think I would ever be a character, to be honest, because I'm too much of a realist.
Right. Okay.
So I wouldn't. I don't know. It just wouldn't gel. It wouldn't go. I don't think.
Okay. Here's a question then. Do you think that making a character is cheating?
No, definitely not. No, I don't.
Okay, do you think that musical comedy is cheating?
Yes.
Thank you. I think they're both the same. I think it's like, oh, you couldn't take it that they rejected you. Oh, you just had to create a character for them to not like. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so they don't. So there's no jeopardy there. You can be whatever then, isn't it? It's like, oh, I'm a character. So yeah, well, that's fine. Because just and then anyway. So that's my rant over. But I'm glad you agree. Musical comedy is definitely cheating.
I'm very fond of musical comedy. I think it's great for the energy and what it brings to a night is fantastic. Yeah. And it's a completely different skill as well.
It is. I mean, yeah, that's true. I'm just jealous. Really, is probably what it is. I probably want to create a character that also does music as well. God Almighty, double threat. That's it, double threat.
Oh yeah,
that's
there
it.
You go.
There's a musical character. Plan. That's what I'm going to do. It's going to take the next 10 years to learn this, and it'll be too late. So, okay, have you written any sitcoms, or have you got any ideas for any of that kind of stuff?
No, but I do have some children's books which I've been working on. But no sitcoms to date.
I mean, that's handy thing about children's books, isn't it? They're very short.
Yes, yeah, and it's more about the concept than the actual writing. But yeah, I quite enjoyed that.
Is it called Dot the Dog or?
No, it's called The Naughty Tube Driver is the first one.
Oh, cool, nice.
Yes.
And how many have you written?
2 so far.
Cool.
But they've not got very far yet. But yeah, they're sort of there.
That's in the bag. That's great. Yeah. You so getting ready. This has got your merch all lined up, ready to go. Straight off the stage. Right. Okay. Now you've heard me talk about someone jizzing in a sock.
Yeah.
But look, I do children's books as well. No, nothing about the jizz. Or there's no socks in here.
I am for all the family.
That's great. Got to cover every angle. How did you get rid of your nerves?
Oh, that's a good question. I think, I thought about this the other day, coincidentally, because did you see on TV they had a program where the celebrities did stand up, and it was a stand up for cancer, I think.
Right.
And the Baroness Varsi did it, and then with Nick Helm, and there was an actress on there, and I can't remember her name, but she looked so nervous when she was up there, and I just thought, oh my God, I feel really lucky that I've completely got past that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I felt, I wanted to tell her, that's really normal to feel nervous, but you won't feel nervous if you keep doing this.
Yeah, that's it.
So I think the honest answer is just keep doing it and doing it as much as possible. And then somehow, it would be weird if you didn't have any nerves. And sometimes you'll be in a club or in a gig and something different will happen. And maybe that will make you feel a bit nervous. But it's not quite the same as that starting out nerves when you're like, oh my God, what am I doing?
Oh God, yeah, like like your heart is literally in your ears. It's like right between your ears, isn't it? It's like your heart. You can feel your heart beating. You're sweating. It's like you feel hot all over. It's terrible. So like
exactly.
And you're so did you do improv as well to get out of that the head zone?
I tried to go to an improv class once and I hated every single second of it. I can see how it really helps other people.
Yeah.
And I can see how it makes good stand-ups when people have that crossover. It's almost like when an athlete, say they're a swimmer and they do Pilates and it helps with your muscles. For me, God, I just found it was just full of actors and they were just shouting at each other and I was like, I don't find this very funny. But I mean, you see it in stand-ups like John Robbins, for instance. I think his stand-up is fantastic, but he obviously improvises as well, and it definitely helps with emceeing and that side of thing, I think.
How do you find emceeing?
I love emceeing.
Brilliant.
And I think emceeing takes me away from that fear that I have that I'm not a very good writer, because you don't need to be a good writer.
Yeah.
You just need to interact and have a good time and make people feel at home. And so I really like emceeing.
You've been a finalist for a few things. You've been a finalist for, is it the Bath New Act in 2018?
Yes.
And also Get Up, Stand Up. What's this for? Semi-finalist. What is that?
I don't remember that one.
Get up, stand up, sit down and carry on drinking.
It sounds good though. It sounds really good.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, that type of thing will just... I mean, competitions are great, I suppose, in a way, because they make you have a club ready... You need a set that's as if you're going to be in a club, I suppose, where it's like bang, 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 joke, 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 joke. So I like that in that it might give you something you're aiming for. But in terms of pitting people against each other, it's not fun. if people are nervous, I don't think that helps with things.
Yeah.
Because the thing I love about comedy is that we do have such diversity and so many different people are funny. And I don't necessarily think that one is more funny than the other. But I just think, I think, and I know competitions don't necessarily, they're sort of celebrating everything, but it's sometimes not the easiest things to go through.
It's just a confidence boost for the new acts, I think, isn't it, really? Because they don't really mean anything outside of that competition. It's nice to have on a poster. But I think when someone's really new and they do a competition, they go, oh, I got to the final of something. It inspires them to carry on, I think, really. It's I don't think it's necessarily like, you're in competition as much with everyone else, but it's just a thing to go, oh, right, well, I'm on the right path. People did kind of like me to get me that far,
Yeah, and if that's what it is, and it's a confidence boost, then I think that's great. I suppose there's lots of different ones, aren't there? And they've all got different ethos.
Yeah, of course. Not the gong show at the comedy store. That's not the same thing at all.
Oh my God, I love that so much.
Right. Have you done it many times?
Yeah, I have. This really plays into my love of like sort of, I don't call it old fashioned, but that sort of stand up, which is quite brutal. It's in a club. So the stand up that I grew up watching was in Junglers. And I know people slag off Junglers, but that was, to me was what a comedy club was. Yeah. When you don't live in a major city, that was the comedy club that was there that you could travel to go and see. So I suppose there's that part of me that sort of retain that love of snappy comedy, punchline heavy. And there's something, I suppose, especially when you're doing lots of open mics, going to see the gong show is actually quite refreshing, because when people are not funny, they just get gonged off. So I quite loved it. I quite liked it for that reason. It is horrible, and then good people get gonged off too early, and sometimes rubbish people stay on for the whole time because the audience is in a funny mood. Yeah. But if you just accept it for what it is, which is something which is a bit ridiculous, and it gives you a chance to be on the comedy store stage, then I think it's really funny. That's a necessary evil. That's right. Yeah. And so you're from Hemel Hempstead. Did you go to Watford Junglers, is it? I did, yes. Right. I used to drag my poor girlfriends across and sneak in underage and go and watch it. Great. From what age? I don't, probably from about 16. Wow. So you weren't out partying, just like, I'm going to go see some comedy. Already like kind of missing out on nightlife and any form of life whatsoever. I'm going to go see comedy when I'm 16 and then continue it late into my life. That's it, that's it. Great. Oh, man. I think I was probably trying to shoehorn it in around nights out. Oh, right, cool. Yeah. Oh, please come with me, please. And then, start the night there and then end up somewhere awful. Like, who's the one you remember the most from Junglers? Is there any comic you got? I don't remember from then, people. I remember people from sort of around the age of when I was at university. And then when I'd moved to London, I remember seeing Mickey Flanagan. Oh, yeah. In the Comedy Cafe before it moved out of Shoreditch. Yeah. In its original home. And that was just amazing. Okay, well, I ask this question to everyone when I'm having the show. Your comedy persona, right? Who, everyone's got kind of like ideas of who they are on stage, right? We talk about characters early on, but you're not a character, you're just yourself, right? Yeah. But did you ever have like a model is like to kind of aspire to be? Like, it could be a job, it could be a mythical being, it could be like your spirit animal, if you like. Do you have any of these things that you kind of see yourself as before you go on stage or while you're on stage? No. It's a complicated question. Okay, right. For example, right, you can, all right, hear this, right. There's a guy, Sean Mio. Yeah. Right. Well, he says he goes around the country and he is a gun for hire. He's a gunslinger. That's what he sees himself as, right? So an outlaw. You don't see yourself as anything like that? No, but I think I should do. I think that's a very, could change your perspective, couldn't it? Definitely. So, okay, what would you like to be then? What would you like to aspire to be then, rather than gunslinger, your own thing? I've had IT, first line support, IT help desk. I've had PCSOs. I've had a plumber. I've had a plumber on, and a teacher, I think, as well. I've had loads of different things. Great. But so people are imagining they're a mundane job. But what they do. I mean, not necessarily mundane, but like a dependable job, or a thing that you kind of go, I am this when I go on stage. Go on stage. This is who I am. This is what I do with my comedy. I mean, some people say, just a happy. I've had Adam Bloom on. He said, I'm a happy puppy
is what I am. You know, like just a playful puppy. That's what he said he is on stage.
Oh yeah, he is like
yeah, totally.
I can see that. No, that makes sense. Oh, okay. That the animal thing makes more sense to me than the job thing.
Great, that's fine. Go for that. As if you could anything.
I think I would have to be. Oh no, all the animals I'm thinking of are horrible.
You can be whatever you want to be. It's all right. You don't worry.
Maybe like some sort of cat type of, but like a small one, maybe like a kitten.
Okay.
Who is very nice to play with, but then occasionally will slightly
shred your arm.
Out.
Okay, cool.
Exactly.
Right, that's cool. Just like lulls you into a false sense of security. There's many cats like that. Like, oh, you just stroke me. And the next thing, they get that look in their eye and they just do not let go. Like they're like they become a cat bracelet, don't they? Is what they are.
Oh god, yeah. I'm not a cat person. I'm not quite sure why I said cat. Yeah, I'm actually a bit scared of cats.
Okay. You face your fear. You become
I will become my fear.
You're like Catwoman. I am the cat. Yeah, that's it. Meow. That's great. So do you write with anyone else or do you just write on your own?
I write on my own, although I have been going to like a writing group in lockdown, which is nice. And you just share ideas and then people say, that's not funny. And then you go away and you write it again. I've heard of people who sort of write together and that sounds amazing, but I've never had that relationship with anybody. But for me, it's more the sociableness of it and just having maybe a target to write towards.
Yeah, a deadline of some kind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then some accountability because there's people there.
Is it on Zoom?
Yes.
Do they say it's not funny on Zoom, so you've got all these other faces looking at you?
Well, they don't say it's not funny, but you know it's not funny when they're not laughing.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Yeah.
That's it. Nice.
There's instant feedback. And I suppose it's sort of the feedback that you get by going to gigs that you haven't got at the moment.
And also you're not as tired when you have to travel all that way to wherever you're going to go.
That's true, yes. Yeah, exactly.
Have you tidied up your house to a ridiculous point at this stage because of lockdown, or have you just been so exhausted with the work that you've got going on from home? My
house, very boringly, has always been very tidy.
You just like your OCD?
Yeah, a little. I'd say normal, but
Wasn't that what everyone would say? I'm just normal. I'm just normal for me. I've got a different normal. That's what it is.
Well, I was just saying this to my partner actually the other day, that it's just complete luck that when we met each other, both our normals are the same in that respect. So we're both the same level of tidiness. But imagine if you meet someone and they're a slob and you're not. Like how, you don't know this when you're dating with someone. You wouldn't actually find this out till you moved in. And then like you've got to live with that then for the rest of your life. And
you do.
Yeah.
Because I'm very tidy. My wife is not tidy. I am very tidy. And I have had to just allow it. I've got to allow some things and just, I become like a bit like snowblind to it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You just go, okay, fine. That's not mine. It's not my mess. That is not mine. You know, it's like, that's your pile of stuff. This is my stuff over here, which I know exactly where everything is. This is your chaos. That's not my chaos. Because you try to organize that stuff, but it doesn't work out that way. So you just gotta, it's a lesson of acceptance.
Oh, yes.
You gotta let some stuff go. You gotta let some stuff go. Oh, at the beginning, it wasn't like that at all. Oh, no. But like you have to, after a while, you go, all right, well, that's it. You know, you can't control everything. That's what it is. You know, it's life is chaos. And, you know, and gradually the other person will become messy in a different way. I guess share your perspectives, isn't it really? And hopefully you meet not a stalemate. I was going to say stalemate. I was going to say I mean a middle ground of somewhere, you know. Whereas this is my side of the room, that is your side.
You both just give up. Yeah.
That's it. You got to accept both sides. So you've written children's books. You are right. You've written towards this show for potentially this Edinburgh this year. What do you know what it's called?
Do you have any insider information on Edinburgh this year?
Nothing.
Every day I'm Googling it because I would just like to know, because if Edinburgh is going ahead, then I was looking at when pubs will open and then gigs start, which is, I think, mid-June.
That's
which
right.
gives 6 weeks of gigging.
Yeah.
And I was just not, even if, I imagine then everyone's going to want to gig, so I don't know how many gigs I could actually get to do new material in as well.
That's true.
The timeline is not looking particularly favourable, even if it does go ahead. But obviously if it does, then we'll just make the most of it. I just like to know, I think, for my own mental well-being.
Yeah, I mean, like, have you done any online gigs?
I've done a few, but I haven't found them quite the same.
No.
Have you been doing lots?
I've done a couple. Like I've done about, I'd say less than 10. And like I did that one gig when lockdown eased, and then I went out. I was like, "Oh, great! It's happened. Oh, we're all out again." And then lockdown fully again. It was great, and so
Yes.
a bit of a break, you know. So, but I found that I did one the other night with Don Biz. I was just 10 minutes was going by fine. I was having a great time, and then I was like, "Oh, it got very quiet." I was like, "Okay, I haven't gigs for a while. Maybe I'm a bit rusty. Don't acknowledge it. Keep going." Carried on. Yeah, probably just just rusty, I thought. Anyway, next day I get an email, said, "Oh, we've really enjoyed your set." I said, "Oh, great, okay." Even though you had massive technical difficulties in the second half, we lost half and you just came back at the end. I was like, "Oh, amazing!" No. But I was like, well, in a way, it was good and bad because it wasn't me. Do you know what I mean? I was like, okay. Yeah. I was like, okay, well, they're a mixed bag. They're a mixed bag. Some are better than others for sure. Difficult thing to find the measure of. But hey, hopefully they'll be gone now. We can start actually, meeting people in the real world.
Be amazing.
So what else is in the pipeline for you then?
So to be honest, in my head, all I'm working towards is Edinburgh.
Yeah.
And then I guess, I know this maybe sounds a bit too simplified, but whether or not it goes ahead or not, it's just going to be getting back into that routine of gigging again. Because before lockdown, as I'm sure lots of people were, you're in a routine, you get booked lots with different people, and then it's all set up. That all needs to be set up again.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be sort of number one, is start gigging again. Number two, start watching other people again live, because I think you just watching stuff on screen, you miss so much.
Yeah.
So I want to get back into going watching other people. And then once I know about Edinburgh, whether or not it's this year or next year, then I can sort of set myself a goal with that. Because
comedy is constantly evolving, and what do people find funny now? That's it. Is like in the new world. How do they feel on a live kind of situation? Are they cynical? Are they joyful? You know what I mean? That's it. Are they like, "Oh, we're out now"? Are they fully dark? Have they turned to the dark side and become their real selves? I'm talking about me right now.
Well, the gigs that I did in between lockdown and sort of autumn last year, people were just so happy to be outside and laughing and with their friends and at gigs that I found them just lovely audiences. So I think people would just be excited to be out and about, really. I would sort of want to expand where I'm gigging a bit more in terms of geography. That's hopefully for the later part of next year, regardless of what, like Edinburgh or not.
In comedy, right? What's the moment when you thought, for the last few years, I know it's all died now, but what was a moment you went, now I finally you got your black belt when you begin, if you know what I'm saying?
So like when you thought you'd achieved something?
Yeah, when you thought you'd achieved something, now I feel that I've got some growing to do, but I still have, I've got a solid foundation now. When was that gig?
I think it was after Edinburgh. Oh, I can't remember which year this was. Maybe 2018 would have been.
Yeah.
And I really felt like I'd sort of found, maybe find your voice is such a cliche, but found the...
You've got to say it in a funny way. I found that thing.
But found the angle which was a crossover between what I find funny in normal life and would make jokes about with my friends and what I'm talking about on stage. It's like I'd found something there. I think just having been in Edinburgh and gigging every day and, just immersing myself in it from that perspective, and then having some amazing gigs in that autumn afterwards, actually, I'd say that was the period when I felt like, oh, okay, I know what I'm doing now. I'm really happy. This is what I want to be doing.
Where were you in that Edinburgh? Did you have a show, or did you just were doing spots, or?
So I was doing spots, and I was on the Angel Comedy Showcase every day.
Oh, nice! That's great.
It was honestly, it was the best thing, because I was doing it with 4 other comics. So every day it was 10 minutes. All the stress of having a show was shared with them. It was on at lunchtime, so we were always getting up the audience in the morning, and then you'd be done by 2 or 3 o'clock.
Nice.
And it was lovely. And then you could go and watch other people's shows, support other people, and then have the social bit in the evening.
Yeah.
And do spots wherever you could.
Yeah, I saw you because we did that gig, that 90s show. Was it the 90s or 80s? 90s show, wasn't it, together?
Steve's show.
Yeah, that's right. Up in the Barbados, isn't it? Up there.
Did I do that, or was I watching
I don't know. I think you were watching at the back,
I think I may have been lurking.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, I can't remember. No, I don't think I did do that night with you.
Oh, but yeah, it was. That's where I met you on that fringe. Yeah,
yes, I do remember. Yeah. Yeah. Oh God, that's just a classic show, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
at
great.
the top of Barbados. All people that you'd love to go and see, like in really weird surroundings with a weird audience at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Totally.
Yeah, it's just fun.
It's like something out of Saw, that those rooms are they? You're just like kind of, oh, there's going to be chains. There's a radiator here, a very strong radiator I might be chained to later on, you know?
Honestly, I swear they pay to keep it that bad. It wouldn't cost that much to just paint it white.
I know, yeah, it's crazy. What's the worst time you've had on stage? Any weird stories that you've been, any weird gigs you've been at, which kind of gone, oh, what the hell was that? Why did that happen?
Well, there's probably been a lot.
Go for it. Do your top two.
Well, I was told to F off by a very drunk man in Luton once.
Right.
I didn't F on the stage.
Yeah.
But it was okay because he was very drunk. And so it's like one of those things, you know, when people say, oh my God, you get heckled all the time.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, like you really don't get heckled all the time. And actually, like this is the one occasion when like someone was being quite aggressive and heckling. But actually, it was fine because I could just make a joke about it and then I looked funny.
Great.
And he looked terrible. And then I think he was so drunk he left. But the promoter was like absolutely furious. And he was like, I'm going to chuck him out. I'm going to do this. He was really nice and really supportive about it. And I was like, honestly, it's fine. Like we don't need to make a big thing about it because he came off looking a lot worse.
Yeah.
But you just don't expect when, I mean, I'm not like taking the mick out of people in the audience particularly.
Yeah.
So I just wasn't expecting it. So that was quite funny.
Wow. And like, what was it? Do you remember the line that you said that just emoted him to just tell you to fuck off? Do you remember that at all?
I think it was because he was drunk and he was talking. So he was being quite disruptive. So then I tried to talk to him like, because it was one of those things where you have to address this.
Yeah.
This is just getting worse for the other people. And then I think he told me to F off.
And you're such got such a small voice as well that you've already won the audience over because he's going to just be aggressive no matter what he says, isn't it? Really,
yeah. But you've got to feel sorry for this guy because he how he got that drunk. It's like a theatre gig as well, so it's almost like he'd come to the wrong.
Oh my God!
Place entirely. Yeah. And his mates were probably somewhere else waiting for a really drunk night out. So yeah, I don't know why he was there, or just feel a bit sorry for him.
He probably went a theatre gig in Luton. I've got to talk here. This is like I don't. His brain was exploding with the just like, you know, the actual location as it was. I mean, wow, that's crazy. So and what's the second place then? Where's the second place?
Where something weird has happened.
Yeah.
God, there's just too many like little weird things that happen.
Yeah. What's the one that just came up in your head there that went, no?
Sometimes it's not me though being on stage. Sometimes it's the other acts. I remember, so one thing I've always tried really hard to do is keep to time. I don't know, I think someone told me early on, it's like, it's not your time, it's the promoter's time. Just keep to time, do the time, don't be under, don't be over. So I've always been quite good at that. And I remember being at a well-known open mic, that like one that lots of people do as some of their first ones, and the MC just coming up and grabbing the microphone off me and going, you've gone over time, and me looking at my watch going, but and I was pretty sure I hadn't gone over time. But you don't want to be a dick and be like, my watch says it's 4 minutes. And I don't know what had happened there, but I hadn't or what was going on with the night, but that was a bit weird.
Okay, and is the worst, what's the worst one? The very worst one that you just like, it's just, you think of it and you just get that, you know, that kind of like cringe at the back of your neck, and you just go, oh my God, there was nothing I could have done, but this is one you always remember. It's like, oh God, I was so couldn't do anything about this.
Oh, the worst gig?
Yeah, the worst gig, the very worst one.
I'm just reminded of one of the Gong shows.
Right.
It wasn't the worst gig, but it was quite funny in that I've gone onto the stage, and you know, you can either feel it's going well or it's not going well from like, I think a few seconds in with those things. Yeah. And I could just tell that this wasn't going very well. The room is really full. I can't remember how many people they have in there, like 300 or 400 people. And half the audience seemed to love me, and the other half of the audience hated me. And because it's the Gong show, they're obviously encouraged to shout stuff at you, like get off or worse. So I've got half the audience screaming get off, and just picking up on every single line and just heckling. And then these people at the front with the cards just won't put up the cards, which would mean you're gonged off.
Yeah.
And in the end, I was begging them. I was like, please let me go. This is awful. I'm Joan badly. I don't want to be here. You don't want me here. And then they seem, the more that I did this, the more they liked it. So sometimes even when you know it's going wrong yourself, they won't let you off.
That's great though. You just like, in a way of, you must have got to the end then, did you?
No, in the end they conceded.
Oh, damn it.
And they let me go.
Oh, your reverse psychology nearly worked. It nearly worked, didn't it? Oh, man.
I think they could tell that I just genuinely was like, I've had enough. Because
funny.
like, I think sometimes you've just, like, when you've got that many people shouting at you, it's a bit like, oh.
Oh, man. Well, fair play. Have you won the Gong Show?
No, and you've reminded me, Winter, I must go back.
Yes.
Even if I get to 60 or 70, I cannot retire from comedy until I have won that Gong Show.
Exactly. That's on the list.
Even if I'm like doing the Apollo, or I still need to win that Gong Show. Totally. I will not be happy until I've won that Gong Show.
That's it. That is going to be on your credits on the very top.
Yes, but I need to put that back to my, this has reminded me. I haven't thought about this enough in the last few years. That's my number one goal for comedy.
Need some pain. I need some misery in my life, some utter sadness. That's what I need to go with that.
I need people to tell me I'm shit a bit more.
Yeah, that's humbling. I need to be humbled. Yeah, it's like, I remember going at Christmas about maybe 3 years ago, and there was this, it was a weird one because like I went up and I went up and did like about a minute and a half. And I was like, okay, fine, got gonged off. But then, but there was like people were getting gonged off quite rapidly, right? You know that happens. So, but Ian Stone was on. He was like, just sort of like kind of being Ian Stone. You know, everyone knows who he is, and was riling the crowd up into like bay for blood. And then a weird thing happened after about 10 people got gonged off really quickly. Me included. So there was like the crowd started booing the people who had the cards and they were like, no, give the cards to somebody else, you know, like and Ian was like, what's happening? This isn't how this is supposed to go, you know, because like it was a real Christmas spirit in there. Yeah. And then so everyone was like giving the next few acts a real big, like a lot of chances, like, you know, to kind of like, you know, prove themselves. I was like, God damn it, I wish I was in the second half of this, you know, but it was so funny. It's just how it is, you know, it's such a funny animal. It's chaotic, you know. Yeah,
that's the thing. You really can't, like, because it's such luck, and you could be the best actor in the world and get gonged off to 10 seconds, then it is luck. So I think to beat that luck, you just need to do it lots of times.
That's right. That's it. You know, there's lottery tickets, you know, just hopefully you get that night, because you might have been behind some guy who's just done a load of hip-hop improv, you know what I mean? And you're kind of, oh great, I've got to follow that. I'm just a guy talking. I don't even have a backing track right now, okay? It's just me and my voice, you know?
Well, I think that time, which was quite bad, I followed a guy. So I'd followed a guy who'd crawled onto the stage and pretended to be a spider.
Oh, did he get gonged off? Please say he did. Thank God for that.
I actually think he lasted longer than me. But
oh my God.
There's some weird people that do it. And respect to them, because, you know, we need diversity and we need a variety in our lives.
Yeah, okay, fine, right, fine. Just I hope they took him off in a glass.
And chucked him out the window.
Yeah, totally. Oh, that's it. That's so frustrating, because then the audience are going to be angry then for the next person, aren't they? Like, you just oh man, that's tough. That's tough. You need to be like too deep after that guy. Is that what you need to be? It's like just they kind of have a bit of a palate cleanser, you know. So you got hopefully the Fringe is happening this year, and you will be doing your 3-hander with the other people. You don't know the name of it yet, but it's going to be hopefully Edinburgh. If it's not going to be up in Edinburgh, you can do it online.
Oh no! So the name of the show. So it's AAA.
AAA. Oh, you're in AAA. Nice. Yes. Great. Nice one. Is that the in the Pleasance?
It's in the Underbelly.
Underbelly. Right. Oh, great. Happy days. Well, yeah. So fingers crossed. I hope it goes well, and I hope you actually manage to get up there and do it. So, and you're doing your children's books. What are they called again?
The Naughty Tube Driver.
The Naughty Tube Driver. Okay, cool. Is the second one not finished yet?
The second one is finished, but it's not. It doesn't have illustrations or anything.
Okay, cool. And do you do those yourself, or do you like ship them out?
Ship them out.
Great. That's great. Nice one. All right. Was so then, Vivienne, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter.
Yeah.
At Vivienne Kay.
Facebook as well, Vivienne Kay? Or
Yep, and then same on Instagram as well.
have you got a website as well with all the gig listings?
No website, as you could tell from my technical understanding when we logged onto this podcast. Not the most technical. Yeah, so just the social medias at this moment in time.
That's great. Well, Vivienne Kay, thank you so much for spending the last hour of your time on the Comedy Defect, and hopefully AAA will happen this year. It's a wonderful platform to be on.
Oh, thank you so much, Winter.
And that was episode 115 with Vivienne Kay. She's been on the AAA stand-up showcase in Edinburgh. She's an author. She's a comedian. She's tearing up the London comedy scene right now. And she's also from Hemel Hempstead. She came to my gig in Boxmoor. If you don't know Hemel Hempstead, Boxmoor is exactly next to Hemel Hempstead. Same postcode, but they like to call it Boxmoor because they can charge more for their houses. But she came down to my gig in Boxmoor about a year or so ago and just tore it up. Adam Bloom was closing and she did not disappoint the audience there. So if you ever seen a bill, go and check her out. She's very funny. I say she's been on the AAA stand-up showcase in Edinburgh, and that is no mean feat to get on. It really isn't. So Vivienne Kay, she's on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook as VIVIENNEKAY. So go and follow her, go and check her live stuff out, go and check her YouTube videos out. But look, comedy lives in a live environment. Go and see her live. And if you want to see some live stand-up, you can come to Redbourne first Tuesday of the month. That is every month, the first Tuesday. That's what it is. We have people from Live at the Apollo, people that are breaking from the circuit into TV, people that are just starting out in the middle and they're just finding their comedy chops. So it's a really lovely little venue, and it's only a small room. It's about 40, maybe 50 capacity. And we can get in there without kind of like maybe having a fire risk of some kind. But it's a lovely intimate gig, and you get to see some real interesting stuff happen. It's where comedy lives and where it maybe sometimes dies, but you know what, right? It's an interesting gig. There's an older crowd there, and you know what, right? They don't take any prisoners, and it's just a lovely gig for me to MC and host every single month, try some stuff out. But if you ever want to talk to me about comedy, you can come talk to me, man, woman, anything between. Just talk to me if you want to start comedy. Just don't worry about it being perfect. It's never gonna be perfect. Just start, just get on with it, execute, get on with it, do it now, because look, you know, there's no time like the present, and comedy lives now, and don't overthink it. Just get on with it, get it done. If you want to follow me, you can. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, all those places as @WinterDominus. That's WITERDOMINUS. And you can also go to Facebook, like the Comedy Defect Facebook page. And you can also join the Comedy Defect Facebook group, where I post the podcast first, and also the gig dates, and where you can get your tickets on there as well. I say tickets go fast every month because it's only a small room, but we get some amazing acts, and you will not be disappointed if you can make it out to Redbourne. Not on a tube, so it's a little bit difficult if you're London based, but if you drive, that's awesome. So get out there and do it. So yeah, that's it for episode 115. Now for August's episode, well, you know, if you're in Edinburgh, this one is with a great comedian. She's managed by Adam Rushton, and she is been on the circuit, I think maybe a bit longer than me. When I first saw her, she was great. She was just I love her stuff. She's just real and honest. And her name is Stephanie Lang. She is for episode 116 in August. So go and check her out. Get her all the stuff on YouTube. Find her online. She's done gigs in America and everything, but I don't want to talk too much about what she's done because we'll talk about it on the podcast. And that is for August's episode 116, Stephanie Lang. Until then, enjoy the summer. Get some barbecues in. Man, get some sun on your skin because it goes so quick, man. Get out there, have a barbecue. Oh, yes. And drink some beer or have a cocktail, mocktail, whatever you're into. Coffee. Why not? Just get out there, man. Get out there and do stuff. Hopefully I can start walking around and getting some stuff done because I hope my legs are healing up and getting on with it, man. I just can't wait to get out in that sun, mate. Get outside the house. But I'm recording these links in the wintertime, so it's a bit depressing and black out there. But you know what, right? Pretty soon, it'll be August now, be the summer, time for barbecues. Oh, avenge me, get out there, have a barbecue for me if I'm still inside and can't walk. Look, we'll speak to you then, and if not, come see me at the gig on the first Tuesday of the month in Redbourne. So what I'm trying to say is, get out in the sun, enjoy the weather, and we'll see you the last Wednesday of the month with episode 116 with Stephanie Lang.